All right, welcome to tonight's game of the night in the NBA. It is the LA Lakers versus the Milwaukee Bucks, a battle of two of the best big men. I'm Greg Wells, and this is You Talk Sports, where you get to be in the show. Just like you see, many of our fans have already joined us here. We'd love to have you join us here. What you're going to see here tonight is all the highlights, all the analysis, all the best takes from real fans. And if you're watching us on YouTube, we'd love to have you join us on Zoom. I'm going to drop the Zoom link. If you're watching this on the replay and you want to join us in a future game, because we're here every night, just leave us a comment saying Zoom, and we'll drop you the Zoom link. Our game is already underway because the Minnesota-Cleveland game went into overtime. So I'm going to pull up the game cast and box score here. But let's just go around the horn and get your takes on what you are expecting to see happen tonight. Let's start with Jeremiah.
I'm excited to see two playoff-bound teams. Like Alex said earlier, LeBron's out. See if Anthony Davis can shoulder the responsibilities, get a W for them. Much more needed for Los Angeles, I believe, than Minnesota, who I feel lock up the 2 seed.
Yeah, AD on Giannis is going to be the head-to-head matchup, and should be a great matchup. I don't know if the Lakers will have any answer for Dame. If LeBron was out there, that would certainly give them another guy that can come in and help on D. But without LeBron, it's going to rely heavily on AD to carry them tonight. Let's go next over to Alex. What do you expect to see happen tonight, Alex?
Yeah, so I think with LeBron being out of the game, I'm looking for the Bucks to win. Um, I think the line moved to 3.5 or 4.5 or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. I think the Bucks cover and get back on track. That was a pretty bad performance they had. Golden State really kicked their ass back on Wednesday, and I hopefully the Bucks can rebound tonight. I want to see as we go forward into the playoffs. I want to see that Dame and Giannis pick and roll really come to fruition. It seems like they're really not doing it too often. I know they didn't do it too often at the beginning of the year, but that's going to be their bread and butter in the playoffs. I really want to see them connect, as we get towards the playoffs.
Yeah, I love getting the hometown take here from the Wisconsin Milwaukee fans. And, Milwaukee's been playing much better since the All-Star break. They've now moved into second place ahead of Cleveland, still 7.5 behind Boston. And I think you're exactly right. They're going to have to ride that pick and roll between their big two. Alvin, what do you expect to see happen tonight?
I definitely fully expect that Milwaukee will handle their business against the Lakers, especially with LeBron not playing tonight. I don't think Davis having to fight off Lopez and the front line of Milwaukee. It's going to be too much. I don't think he's going to get that much help from his backcourt mates tonight. And their bench, the Lakers bench is not going to be enough to hold in this game. They got a lot of players, Cam Reddish, guys they gave burn to earlier this season, but they're just not doing their job. Torian Prince is supposed to be a 3-and-D, and he's not getting any threes to go down. So I don't see the Lakers putting up much of a fight tonight.
Yeah, when you look at who they've got out there, it's Prince and Hayes. Dinwiddie is decent, but they picked him up off the scrap heap. Not a whole lot. And of course, the Bucks we're talking about are a team without Chris Middleton. He's supposed to be back by Monday or maybe even this weekend. And that'll be perfect timing for the Bucks to start to get into a groove heading into the playoffs. Cameron's joining us from the West Coast. What do you expect to see happen tonight, Cam?
Yeah, I'm expecting to see the Bucks bounce back from their embarrassing loss to the Golden State Warriors the other day. I think that Giannis will play much better. He didn't have a good game against Golden State. And the Lakers, not having LeBron in this game is going to be huge because since LeBron has been back in the lineup after the All-Star break, they had a 21-point lead against, or a 21-point comeback against the Clippers. Kind of not too close of a game against the Nuggets. They lost that one by 10, but still, it's a good sample size to see where you are against one of the top teams in the NBA. Then they went out and beat the Thunder. They looked real good against the Thunder. They almost beat them by 20. And then the Kings, they were up 19 against the Kings in their last game just 2 nights ago in the NBA. Actually, what's interesting, two nights ago, 4 teams blew double-digit leads in the fourth quarter, the Lakers being one of them. So that's not a good sign. I think LeBron wasn't playing towards the end of that game. He's lingering an ankle injury, and I don't know if that's true or not. I really think the Lakers, they just need to give LeBron a lot of rest. I mean, he's almost 40 years old, and you just can't ask him to carry this team every single night. He's past his prime. That's not his role anymore. When he's healthy, though, you can let him go in the playoffs, and he'll lead the team in the playoffs. But you can't have him limping into the playoffs.
Yeah, good points about LeBron there. It is a back-to-back. The Lakers are at home. I do like a home dog in the NBA, but I think we all agree Milwaukee's going to take this one. I'm going to put the YouTube link into the Zoom chat here. If everyone could hop over there into the chat and just put in your picks for the night. Taking the Bucks, we'll play it at -3.5, and I'll take it with the over. This way we have everybody there. We do want to have engagement in the chat. And we get an echo coming here. If everyone could hop over there into the chat and just put in your picks for the night. Taking the Bucks, we'll play it at -3. I think that's coming in from my phone. We haven't seen that happen before. All right, so let's check in on our game. It is underway here. One of the things I've been kind of riding since we've been watching these games is following the injury to look for good player props to play. We saw this the other night when Giannis was out. Lillard went nuts, had a 40-point game, easily went over his player prop. I'm expecting the same thing tonight with Davis. While I expect we're going to see the Bucks win the game, I think Davis will win the stat matchup and go over his numbers because he's got to carry them. So I think that's kind of stating the obvious here in terms of what to expect with this game. So we're going to be keeping one eye on this game. It is on the TV here now that the Cleveland-Minnesota game has gone to a final. Let's go around the horn and just check in on what else has been happening in the NBA tonight. If any of these games catch your eye, let's get a take on these. I think there was a really good game going on with the Heat and the Thunder. I'm going to run and grab some water. Let's have Cam, tell us, what do you make of the Thunder beating the Heat?
Yeah, I think that's a good win for the Thunder. The Heat have also been one of the hottest teams the past month. Thunder just got whooped by LA pretty handedly. LA is trying to climb out of the bottom of the ranks. Thunder are young. I think they got some big matchups here down the stretch. I want to see how they do against all these other playoff teams. Because right now, if I'm the Thunder, that's a nice little preview. I mean, they could easily play the Lakers in the first round, and the Lakers just whooped them. They just whooped on them the other day. AD is a problem for Chet Holmgren. LeBron is a problem too, and they defend well. So if the Thunder end up playing the Lakers in the first round, I think I'm worried. What do you guys think about that?
Well, I mean, the Thunder don't have a lot of playoff experience. They certainly seem like on paper they should be able to take the Lakers. I don't think anybody really wants to see the Lakers in the playoffs, so it's going to be running the gauntlet in the West. So just skimming through the night's activity, it's interesting to see Jaime Jaquez led Miami in scoring. And in this Atlanta game, they were led by 41 points by Dejounte Murray. We were talking earlier in the week about how he's likely playing for a new team and very much impressing there. The Knicks destroyed the Magic. I think Brunson was out in that game. They were led by Precious Chihuahua. So how you say his name? And we watched this earlier game. The end of this game went to overtime. Was a great finish, and Minnesota had a chance to win it at the end of regulation. Naz Reid had a career game in the loss. Jared Allen with 19 free throws and 18 rebounds carried the Cavs without 3 of their starters. Hey, the Wizards get a win against the Hornets.
Yep, that snaps a 16-game losing streak for the Wizards.
The place people go to die in their career. The Pelicans took care of business over the Sixers. The Rockets are on tonight against the Blazers. And our game we are focused in on is here, the Lakers and the Bucks. It's 30-27, the end of the first quarter here. The Lakers have been able to hang right with them. We're going to be also playing some fantasy football tonight, like we do every night. We talk football and basketball. We're going to be focused on this game here tonight. Hopefully the Lakers can hang with them. So far, so good. AD is off to a hot start, just like we said he would be. I like at the end of the first quarter here to check in. If anybody has any takes from anything in current events today, go ahead and use the Zoom raise of hand, and would love to hear what you guys are seeing and what's happening. It's interesting to see that there's already been some NFL signings, even though free agency officially starts on Monday. I'm really excited for that, to start to see where so many players are going to go. There's so many running backs, especially, that are out there in the open market that could all be headed to new teams. Of course, we've got a quarterback shaking as well. So lots to look at. And I'm going to pull up the site that I play fantasy football best ball on. And we're going to do a draft on here and kind of do some fun pregame analysis tonight. So this is Underdog. If you don't have an account there, I'll give you guys a link. If you want to sign up and play along, you don't have to play along. We're going to be doing kind of an analysis. It's interesting to see where people are taking players already, and just kind of where kind of the public is valuing people at this point. It just kind of gets your mind thinking and makes it fun to stay plugged into football this time of year. All right, we're still at the first quarter break here, so let's go to Alvin. Go ahead, Alvin.
So tonight, health and availability. I think that's the best friend of the Pelicans right now. It's one of the biggest reasons why I think we have an opportunity to make a run at that top 3 spots in the Western Conference. Tonight we have BI pitching in with only 17, Zion 23, but Najee Marshall comes in with 19 points tonight, with Trey Murphy putting in 10, Alvarado putting in 10. Alvarado putting in 7, McCollum putting in 10. We are a very balanced team. And I think the Western Conference and the NBA needs to be put on notice that the Pelicans are coming and we are healthy this year. Our big 3, our bench is deep. We are poised and ready. And like I said, the theme for the rest of the season is health and availability. And let go Pels go, won't bow down.
Nice. Well, as you know, I'm a big Zion fan, so I'm rooting for you guys. I think that you won't be able to break into the top 4 in the Western Conference. They're too far ahead, in my opinion. But hold strong in that 5 spot. Stay out of the play-in game, and I don't think anybody wants to play you. And if you get anybody except for Denver, it's 50-50 as far as who's going to win that series. So I'm right there with you guys on that. I'm going to drop into the Zoom chat here the link. If you have not ever played over on Underdog, that's where we're going to do the draft tonight. This is going to be fun You don't have to play along, but I'm going to jump into a $10 best spot ball league there. They have a $2 million prize pot. And I play a couple teams pretty much every day, just part of my fun sports routine. And if you want to play along, otherwise we'll be sharing it on the screen, and we'll be kind of discussing and analyzing the picks that everyone is making as we're tuning into this game here tonight between the Lakers and the Bucks. And and they do, when you join on that link, they do match your initial deposit. So you'll get, some free money to play along with, because we are going to be using this going forward. The fantasy football segments we've done have been some of our most popular segments. I think the night we did the mock draft, we had 16 people on. And so we're going to be incorporating doing more of that. Obviously, March Madness is coming up. Conference tournaments kick off next week. So next week we'll be focused on college basketball and fantasy football. And one of the things that I really like about drafting a fantasy team right now is there's a lot of value you can get in because we don't know where the free agents are going. We don't know where the rookies are going. Once the rookies get drafted, and whichever rookie receiver goes to Kansas City, for example, or goes to Buffalo, both those teams are probably going to take receivers in the first round. They're going to shoot way up in the rankings, but you can get those guys a lot later now. So if you can speculate around the rookies, where you think they might go, and speculate around some of the free agent players, you can really get a team that's stacked that you would not be able to draft once free agency starts on Monday and once the NFL draft comes up in April. So by playing now, you have a much better chance at winning the $2 million because it's 200K is first prize, 2 million is total. But because you're able to get a value stack, of course, you might guess wrong. The player might wind up, rookie not getting drafted, or it's speculative. But in order to win a big prize pot like that, it's high risk, high reward. And if you study the teams, I go through and look at the teams that have won a lot of these. They're typically teams that are drafted before free agency and before the NFL draft happens, because they're able to get players that you're not able to get at the same spot in the draft once August and July come around. So we're going to be doing that, as well as keeping an eye on our game. The second quarter is underway here. It's 33-32. Let's check in on the box score and the rotations, and just see who's keeping up here. Looks like D. Russ is up to 8 points, kind of keeping the Lakers in it. Good to see that Lisa has joined us here. Lisa, what do you expect to see happen in this game tonight? Anything caught your eye in this game?
Well, my specialty is football, so I just kind of watch and enjoy. I love Giannis. He's my guy. So like you guys said, I expect him to come out and do much better this game. So we'll see what happens.
Nice.
I'm just here to enjoy.
Yeah. And and with the fantasy football draft, I look forward to getting your takes on there. I'm very high on Dak Prescott. I've been talking him up a lot this year for fantasy football. And, nice throwdown there by the Lakers. I don't know who that was. Let's see. Jackson Hayes. Nice. So I'll give everyone a chance. Let's use the Zoom raise of hand if you want to play along in the league on Underdog. Otherwise, what I'll do is I'll pull it up on the screen. And I just want to make sure if anybody has any questions about how it works or anything. I don't know if you guys have done best ball before, but there's no free agency. There's no trades. There's no putting in your lineup in best ball. It's this is it right here. As you can see, there's already 200,000 people that have entered. It's a $2 million prize pot. And so we'll if I'm the only one who gets a team, that's fine. It'll just give us, really what it'll do is it'll give us an entire draft board, and we'll be able to kind of give our analysis and talk about who we should take and kind of draft on our own. But if you want to draft your own team, just use the Zoom raise of hand there. I'm kind of also judging, what interest various people have in doing a draft like this, to see if this is something we might want to do on an ongoing basis. Let me just pull this up here and just see, where do we see the rules. It's
I would like to, Greg, but underdog isn't offered in Louisiana.
Oh, that's true too. There's some different places that it's offered or not offered. Is your state, does it have any online? Because this isn't considered sports betting. It's right, it's just playing the fantasy, because we don't hear, I'm in North Carolina right now, and they don't have sports betting here at all, but they do have underdog is somehow considered fantasy sports.
Yeah, I tried to do it the other day and it blocked me.
Oh, really? Okay. Interesting. Yeah, these things can tell where we are, right? It's you can track your IP address. I'm trying to get, oh, here it is down here. It's hard to read this below here. How do we make that bigger?
What do you use for your fantasy football, Alvin?
ESPN.
Yeah, same. I use the ESPN fantasy football app as well. I wish it kept like a record of like your stats and whatnot. Like, your
Right.
2016 team, your 2017 team, your 20. I wish you could compare your teams and your stats.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah, I do
surprised
too.
it doesn't do that. Yahoo does that.
Yeah, Yahoo does.
Yeah. I like ESPN because it's just an app, I already have. Some of the leagues I play are on ESPN. I think ESPN is full PPR. Most leagues are a
Yeah.
half point PPR, so it's a little
Yeah,
bit
it's
different scoring
full
too.
point.
I use the Sleeper app. If anyone's heard of that, no one's heard of that. Sounds like
No, I haven't heard of that app, Alex.
I've
Sleeper
heard
app. Sleeper app tracks everything. You can also put prop bets into. It's kind of a 2-in-1 type of app on your phone. It's check it out sometime. It's nice.
Yeah. Is that but is that a league like that we could all draft the team in and we could all play?
Yes.
Or?
Yes, it's legal. It's legalized. I mean, yeah, in Wisconsin, gambling is illegal or whatever. It's not legalized yet, I'll say, but you can still do prop bets on the Sleeper app. And they're like, yeah, and that would be a league we could all do a draft on, or an app we can all do a draft on. It also shows the draft board up live as we're doing it, so we can see everything. It's really nice.
Nice. Yeah, that does sound cool. We'll have to
Is that a PPR league as well, Alex?
You can set your own rules, whatever you want.
Nice. Yeah, the I mean, if we had 10 or 12 people, then we could just do one, in Excel like we did the other night, or do one, in Yahoo. But since we don't have enough people to fill it out, that's why we would need to use one of these paid ones for now. Those leagues tend to always fill up about every 10 minutes or so. There's a new draft kicking off.
Jackson Hayes is dominating the Bucks right now in the paint.
That's what I'm saying.
It's
That's why, is
embarrassing.
Giannis injured? Like, can he not defend
He's
or
playing.
something?
He's playing
not
like crap.
100% from that Achilles injury?
I don't know, but he's not playing defense, and it's starting to piss me off. Jackson Hayes is terrible, and he's not a good NBA player, and he's dominating Brooke Lopez, Bobby Portis. And
Yeah, I see him like running down the court out of full dribble, dunking.
right.
I didn't know he was a 7-footer. He was like moving like a forward out there.
Yeah, Bucks defense isn't looking very good this game.
Nope.
They're scrambling, running around. Need Austin Reeves to step up.
I forgot about Austin Reeves.
Just what the Bucks need. Patrick Beverly shooting contested threes, step back threes.
Did Beverly play for the Lakers? I feel like he's been on just about every team.
Yeah, he played for both LA teams.
Austin Reeves. Go right at Connington.
Oh wow, yeah, he was getting in his bag right there.
All right, we got a game break. All right, let's figure out if there's a way we can do a draft where we can all do it then while we're watching this. And maybe we can we'll do it if we can do we have 6, right? So if we do a 12 team draft and we each take 2 teams, we could kind of do one like that. So let me try to set that up here. Let's make a little Google sheet we can do it in. All right, so let's hop over to the YouTube chat. Again, we need to have everybody in YouTube, and we're going to use that for the fantasy football draft. So go ahead and put into the YouTube chat what spot is your first choice. If you want to pick first, put a 1. If you want to go in the middle, put the middle number like 6. And we'll just go in order of what's in the YouTube chat. And we'll go through once. We'll let everybody pick one spot, and then we'll go back through a second time. And this will just get us, make sure we're all here in the YouTube chat. If anybody needs the link to the YouTube chat, let me just put that in the Zoom chat again. And if you're watching us on YouTube and want to join us on Zoom, I'm going to drop the Zoom link here to come on up and join us for this tonight. All right, there is the chat. So let's go here over to the chat. All right, so the first person to respond was UFC June. Who's that again?
That's me. That's me, Jeremiah.
All right, Jeremiah. I should be remembering everybody's emails by now, but that's a lot to expect here. Fantasy draft. All right. So Jeremiah, you wanted spot 3, right?
That'll work.
All right. And then next in the YouTube chat, let's see, that's not game's on a commercial break right now, by the way, with the Lakers leading by 4. This is here we go. All right, next up was Cam wants first pick.
Yeah,
Alex
he wants
second
CMC,
pick.
of course.
You already know.
And close out. Close out this. Oops, that was the one we needed. All right, Alvin wants 6. Lisa wants 4. All right, just to round this up, I'll take 5. All right, so now we're gonna go back through again. So we're each gonna take a second team, just so we have a full 12-team draft here. And let's go ahead and put into the YouTube chat what number you want for round 2 here. All right, so Jeremiah's got 9, Alex has got 10. Cam's got 12. Lisa's got 8. And am I missing somebody? Right, we have 12 of us. So Alvin's got 11. And all right, I am here. All right, and then in case you want to work off a master list here, I have this is the one we're just doing now. Here we go. All right. It's a little bit abbreviated, but this is a list. This is my own list from Underdog. This is the ADP. So we'll use this just to kind of cross people off and so we can all see who's gone. This is the order that the public is taking things. Doesn't necessarily mean it's the order they are. And we're gonna do we'll do what running back, receiver, tight end, quarterback. So we'll do 6 rounds with no bench. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And be ready to give a take on your player, why you feel they're the best pick kind of at the spot wherever you're taking them. And yeah, the Lakers are up 8 now, 53-45. All right, let's kick this off, Cam, with first pick.
Yeah, you already know. CMC.
All right, CMC. And yeah, I mean, he had an incredible year. He can stay healthy.
I mean, when healthy, when he is healthy, he is the best player in fantasy football. It was the same thing when he was there in Carolina. Just his one knack is, can he stay healthy? Since he's been traded to the Niners, he's been exceptionally healthy, playing in almost 90% of the games he's been available to play.
Yeah, what do you think are the Niners doing something different to keep him healthy, or it's just been luck? Or
every team has a different training staff. You know, in the NBA, the Suns and the Blazers were known for a long time for having, and the Spurs for having the best training staffs in the NBA. So I think it has a big part to if you have good doctors on your team or not, because that's one thing in life. It's hard to find a good doctor.
Very true. All right. So I'm just pulling up in case we want to look up any stats for players here. So this is how do I get out of this? Go to the league page. The players page, player list. All players. And this will also give us last year's season total, right? Let's do.
Who's Alex going to take with that second pick? Jordan Love?
Yeah, so actually, this is actually interesting that I think people don't realize, that how close these two are in terms of points. It was a phenomenal season from CeeDee Lamb. All right. Doesn't mean he's whoever's did last year's stats. If fantasy football was as easy as picking from last year's stats, everyone would just crunch the numbers and win easily, but it doesn't always work out that way. So you got number 2 pick here, Alex.
I'd like to point out first that the Lakers are 8 from 10 from 3, and they're a horrible 3-point shooting team. It's just, again, another thing that makes me angry. So I will take CeeDee Lamb at number 2. Greg, you're right.
CeeDee Lamb, what do you like best about him?
And Alvin's going to love this. I think he is the best receiver in the NFL right now. And that's taking into account he stays healthy. And he's been pretty consistent since he's been in the league. So I think that, Dak Prescott too is a great regular season quarterback, great fantasy quarterback. So that connection is the best 1-2 punch in football right now. So I like CeeDee Lamb for that reason.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you. I think you could make the case for CeeDee Lamb as the number 1 overall. Just he's less of an injury history than C-Mac and just as dominant as his position. He's got stability at the quarterback position, so there's not going to be any changes there, as opposed to Justin Jefferson, could have a whole new quarterback there. With Tyreek, you always got to worry about Tua getting a concussion. Tyreek also is turning 30, and that's usually the beginning of the end for NFL players. And so he's a lot more injury prone, a lot more risk there. than CeeDee Lamb is young in his prime in a stable offense. I feel like those two are the dominant two, and from there, anything can kind of happen in this draft. We're seeing now what the public typically takes, but that doesn't mean they know what they're doing. All right, so up next, let me put him on there. CeeDee Lamb at number 2. Up next is Jeremiah with number 3 spot, exactly the spot he wanted. So he must have his eye on a guy.
Definitely do. Jamar Chase. It was for me between him and Jefferson. Like you said, Jefferson with the quarterback uncertainty. Jamar Chase definitely familiar with Joe, and I think we're gonna have a great season.
Yeah, so Jamar Chase, last year he was a consensus number 2 pick, and after Jefferson, those were the 1-2 last year. And his numbers were a little bit down this past year, but that's because Burrow was out. If you go
Absolutely.
back, his rookie year was really his best year of all time, right? That was the year he really lit it
The
up.
Super Bowl year.
That was the Super Bowl year, yeah. And it's interesting, and maybe you can give us some insights to this, but from what I saw of him that year, he was like the touchdown guy. So his rookie year, 81 balls, 13 touchdowns, almost 1,500 yards. This past year he had 100 balls, and this is without Burrow. So I'm wondering, have they kind of changed how they're using him? Like, is he more the possession guy and not the deep guy anymore? Or?
Well, they use him both ways. They use him in a slot a little bit as well. He's definitely the deep guy. They try to get the ball in his hands as much as possible, as you do with your rock stars. But new offensive coordinator coming in this year. Callahan went to Tennessee, became the head coach. So I'm excited to see what the quarterback coach is going to bring.
Yeah, I just wanted to point out too, last season the Bengals, they were opened up the season trying to lean heavy on the run, and Jamar Chase even said the reason we're not doing good is because he's not getting the ball. He's always open. He's always open. He said that. And actually, I remember this happening last season too. Someone in my fantasy league was so just lit up with how Burrow was performing. They dropped him off his team. He started off season so bad last year. I picked him up. I was like, I don't care if he's injured. I don't know. I like Burrow. Burrow's still one of the best QBs in the league. I picked him up. Surely they turned things around right then, and then he got hurt. He ended up hurting his wrist. And that's the Bengals.
Yeah, he came in hurt. He came in hurt with that calf injury.
Terrible training, terrible back to good doctors and bad doctors. They had terrible training staff trying to cover up that injury and put him out there and play.
You ain't wrong.
Yeah, so in the preseason, he hurt his calf in the preseason, and that seemed to throw him off for like the first month. And then he missed a bunch of games at the end, right? So there was only, how many games was he actually at full strength?
I'd say 5, and we were 4-1 in those games.
Yeah, I remember they lit up the 49ers in one of those games.
Yes, we started to get on a roll, and then it happens. Injuries is part of football, man. I mean, yeah, it sucks, but it is what it is.
Yeah, so Burrow definitely has a high ceiling. Chase rather, the combo with Burrow, they know each other since college. They're both young. I like players that are, young, as opposed to looking at Tyreek here again, who's turning 30.
Hey, Jerry Rice performed well late into his 30s and 40s. Actually, there's only 2 receivers who've played in the NFL at age 40 got receptions. That's Jerry Rice, and the other guy is Tom Brady. He's got like a 20-yard reception or something like that. Only guys that over 40 to get receiving yards.
That's a good trivia question, yeah. Chase did have the injury in 2022. Last year he missed 1 game. Those are all things in kind of where you might be weighing him, but I think it's a good solid pick there. All right, Lisa's up next. Lisa, who do you like at number 4?
My first instinct was to go with Tyreek, because even though he is getting older, I mean, he's not slowing down. I mean, he can just blow the top off. However, I know Tyreek because he was on the Chiefs, and I I mean, I think his ability is his speed. His best ability is not his catching ability, because he has dropped a number of passes that honestly I don't think he should ever have dropped. But his speed, and because he can run so fast, I think that is his best ability. That being said, he does get injured a lot, not like really badly, but he does get injured. He always gets dinged up almost like every other game or something like that. So that bothers me, especially now that he's getting a little older, and he is a little, even though he's compact, he is, a little guy. So with all that being said, I'm going to go with the man who I think, well, he's one of my favorites because I think he catches everything. And I got to go with Justin Jefferson.
Justin Jefferson. All right. Yeah, some good points about Tyreek. I mean, last year was his best year ever.
Yeah, he was on pace for 2,000 yards before he got injured right there at the end.
Yeah, I think he only missed one game.
But there's always something. I mean, like when he was with the Chiefs, I mean, he hurt his heel, or he'll pull up a little bit with his hamstring. Like I said, it's nothing major, but there's always
small.
But there's, yeah, exactly. So there's always something. So I'll go with JJ.
So Justin Jefferson, what do you like about him?
He catches everything. I mean, I don't care. I don't care if there's a question about quarterback right now. You throw it up, he's going to catch it.
Yeah, Justin Jefferson, his 2022 is probably considered the best fantasy season ever from a wide receiver. Let's just look at this and revisit this. Last year, of course, he had the injury and still finished, with over 1,000 yards and 5 touchdowns last year. Let's look at his numbers from the year before.
Yeah, Snead locked him down, and then we knocked him out of the game, unfortunately.
So, all right, here's where's his career numbers.
I think another reason why there's a lot of upside on Justin Jefferson is he also always gets open. And on Cooper Kupp's historic fantasy year, as the way that offense was set up, running a lot of crossing routes, Cooper Kupp was wide open in the middle of the field. It seemed like every game. And the same exact thing is happening with the Vikings and Justin Jefferson, because they brought that same exact offensive coordinator for Cooper Kupp over to the Vikings.
Really? That's interesting. So there's a new offensive coordinator in Minnesota.
Yeah, it was that year. It was 2022, the year Jefferson absolutely lit it up. That was his first year with the new offensive coordinator, that same guy who coached up Cooper Kupp.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay, yeah. So he's back again this year. Our game, by the way, went to half with the Lakers up 67-63. And Giannis has 16, Davis has 14. Surprising all around there. So yeah, that's interesting. The Rams and McVay, they generally like to run the ball too, but they haven't really had a running back in Minnesota, which is I think why they throw so much. The risks with Jefferson is obviously he got hurt last year. Is he going to be full strength? Is he injury prone to get hurt again? Is this the beginning of a pattern? No reason to think it is, but we're digging for any red flags we can find here. I think the bigger one is does Kirk Cousins leave, and how does that hurt Jefferson? Cousins, I think Cousins is overrated, and maybe not even overrated. I don't even know if anyone thinks he's good. Like, I just think Jefferson makes him look good and put up good numbers. And that even if Jefferson leaves, it'll likely be Russell Wilson in there. It'll be a veteran in there who will be able to get Jefferson the ball. Jefferson also was pretty productive down the stretch last year without Cousins, playing with a bunch of Minnesota backup quarterbacks. So I don't worry too much about that either.
I just wanted to say I made a mistake. I meant to say not the Vikings offensive coordinator. It's their head coach, Kevin O'Connell. Kevin O'Connell came from the McVay coaching tree. He was the offensive coordinator over there for the Rams when Cup had that historic season.
I see. Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, good to note on that then. All right. So we've got our first 5 picks that are gone. Yeah, I am going to go next at 6, right? And I'm going to take Amon Ron St. Brown.
Do you want to share your screen, Greg?
Oh, is it not showing? Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. Let me hop back over there and show that to you guys. I was moving around some stats on Jefferson and our list here. So I'm going to go with St. Brown here. You know, if we look at his numbers for last year, 1,500 yards, 10 touchdowns. Let's see. Actually, let's just look at overall. Let's take this off and go fantasy points.
Greg, you going at 6?
Yeah, was I next? Oh, you're next. Yeah. Oh no, I'm 5 and then 7. Yeah, this was the 5 spot. I'm Ron St. Brown
Okay.
at 5. You're up next at 6. So yeah, let me make the case for Brown. You know, running backs, I feel like are much more susceptible to injury. And so I don't want my first round pick I want him to have as minimal injury risk as possible. And that's why I like going receiver in the first round, a receiver without an injury history, a receiver who's young, a receiver who has stability at the quarterback position, a quarterback who's not injury prone and not running. Those are all the things that I like about Amon St. Brown. I wouldn't take him over anyone who went ahead. I think all the picks everyone made ahead, except is Tyreek is not gone yet, right? You could make a case for Tyreek there, but I'm going to take Brown. Trying to find what is all available players. We need this on all players. Here we go. So yeah, St. Brown's numbers not quite as good as Tyreek's last year. I think both players missed 1 game. Brown has missed 1 game, you know, each of the last 2 years, and but I like this offense. He's really the only receiver there. That's another thing with Tyreek is Waddle is very good and getting better in my opinion. And again, I'm not making the case for Tyreek to fall too far, but I really like Brown in that spot. All right, Alvin is up next at number 6. You got your full pick of running backs or Tyreek or AJ Brown. Go ahead, Alvin.
I'm definitely going with Bijan Robinson. He won a lot of parlays for me this past season. He's a cow workhorse, and in that red zone, he knows how to find Peter. He reminds me of Thomas from the Saints in the early 2010s, late 2000s to early 2010s. Pierre Thomas, he just knows how to find the end zone, and I definitely he made some good money for me on parlays this past season.
Nice. All right, so let's look into Bijan Robinson here. I think this is a solid pick here based on his ceiling, his upside. He has potential to be the best player in the league. He didn't live up to that potential last year. I had him quite a bit last year, and I was disappointed with him overall. But if you look at where he finished, number 9 overall, you know, within the top guys aside from McCaffrey were at 250. You know, he was right in striking distance of that, and they just had a horrible coaching job with how they use their offensive talent. His backup is really good, and they really seem to love him in Atlanta. What's his name? Tyler Algier, I think. Stole a lot of touchdowns and a lot of yards from him last year. Hopefully that changed with the new staff, and they really feature Bijan. He also has a good pass catcher, which helps. So I think Bijan is definitely the second best running back on the board here. All right, so at number 7 here, it's too far for Tyreek Hill to fall. We've talked about him quite a bit. I'm going to take Tyreek, and that brings Lisa up here at number 8.
I think Tyreek fell way too far. I mean, people said his production was gonna fall off when he went to when he signed with Miami, and he's had two 110 reception, 1,700-yard seasons.
Yeah, well, he's had one, I think. I don't think he did 17 first year, but the first year was great. And but he's getting older now. He's turning 30. There's risk with Tua getting injured. There's risk with Waddle emerging. There's injury risks with him. So I think we've talked about a lot of those risks. You could make the case for him to go as high as number 3 overall.
He got 1,700 his first season there with the Dolphins.
Did he? Yeah. Let's look.
Yeah, he got 1,700 and then 1,800 this last season. Well, 1,799, but
yeah. So Tyreek. I guess we're looking at running backs over here now. Let's look at the year before here. Yeah, 17-10, 119 receptions. Yeah, so his numbers went up when he left. Only 7 touchdowns that year.
And the reason why those numbers went up is because Mike McDaniel is an offensive genius, and a lot of teams are stealing the Dolphins' play style. What they're doing is they're sending these speedsters in motion, and Tyreek Hill's getting a running start off the line of scrimmage and getting wide open whenever he wants.
Well, that's all Shanahan, right? He came from
Shanahan started that. I mean, he did that a lot with Atlanta in their Super Bowl run, right?
Yeah, and the Packers do it now too. So you're right about that, Cameron. You see a lot of teams trying to copy that formula.
Yeah, it seems like Miami's really taken it to another level with how firepower their offense has been. Both the passing game and the running game last year were very powerful at Miami. I did, Tua is also in a contract year and not signed. Hopefully there's nothing comes of that. And but it is, for Miami to commit 4 more years to him is a worry. He hasn't won anything yet, so but that's just another variable that's a little bit up in the air with Tyreek. But like we saw, in most leagues, Tyreek is going number 3 overall. If you want a high risk, high reward player, he's that. He's also can be very streaky. A lot of his games, he was blowing up. He'd have 2 touchdowns and 150 or more yards, and then he'd play the Patriots and have 70 yards. It's still a good game, but he does have to go up against some of the better defenses in the AFC East there on a regular basis. All right, Lisa is at number 8.
Well, I'm torn. Because honestly, my favorite receiver is AJ Brown. I love AJ Brown. I think that he's big, he's strong, he's fast. He when it comes to contested catches, he's great. And I am honestly not a huge believer in CD Lamb, even though I know he's got the numbers. So I'm a little bit torn.
Well, CD Lamb went number 2 already.
Oh, they already took CD Lamb? Did I miss that?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, then I'm going to take AJ Brown.
Yeah, so AJ Brown, I think, is a very solid pick right here. Right, and since he's been in Philly, he's had 2 years with 15 touchdowns, 11-7. He got hurt at the end of last year. Only missed 1 game in the regular season. Each year he's missed 1. Actually, he played 17 games last year, Bob.
But then that brings into question, how do I feel about Hurts? And I don't know how I feel about is it Hurts?
Yeah, Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, I don't know why I was thinking Justin, but yeah, Jalen Hurts. I don't know why. I'm out on him right now. I'm not 100% in on Jalen Hurts. So that was another one of my questions. But I mean, I just love AJ Brown, so I'm just gonna stay with him.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Jalen Hurts, if you don't believe in him, he seemed like maybe he was injured. He didn't play that well the second half of last year. AJ Brown was probably a top 3 player the first half of last year. And if we look, does this show individual games? If you really look under the hood for him, yeah, where's his fantasy points? Which doesn't have his fantasy points, but you can see, he had a stretch of games here where he was over 130 yards every game for a while. And then he kind of got banged up and didn't finish so well at the end of the year. The other thing is going back to his Tennessee days, he was injury prone at Tennessee. That's partly why they traded him. He missed quite a few games each year in Tennessee, but he's a big guy. He just plays so physical. I think
He
that's
is. And he used to light, when he was in Tennessee, he used to light us up. The Chiefs used to just light us up.
Yeah. Yeah, so if you're looking for a receiver, I think he's clearly the best receiver on the board and kind of the end of the real proven receivers. He's had more than one good season. That's another big variable in the guys that I like to take in the first round, really in the first in all the rounds. I like to see that they've had more than just one year and that they're in a stable situation. There's no coaching change or quarterback change here. So I think that's a pretty safe and solid pick there. All right, Jeremiah is up next at number 9.
Kyron Williams.
Kyron Williams. All right, what do
Yeah.
you like about him compared to the other running backs that are on the board?
One, I love his coach. I love the way they scheme up things for him. I believe he was the second highest scoring fantasy running back behind CMC last year when he played. I know he missed a week or two, but a young guy, and I like the offense. Think he's going to score pretty high this year.
Yeah, so Kyron Williams, as we're looking here, by total, he was 3, 4, 5, 6 in the league last year by total. If we switch that to by average, does it have that on here? It should. 2023 season average. Then he moves up to number 2 ahead of Mostert, who had an incredible year in terms of touchdowns. So by average, he's a great running back. He did miss a few games last year, right? And has had kind of came out of nowhere last year. It just makes me a little bit cautious that he's only had the one good year. We have seen a lot of one and done players over the course of fantasy, but we don't see any reason to think that would be him. His coach loves the running game. Finally has a running back that he can really ride. I think Stafford's getting old. That's why I don't trust Stafford's to stay healthy, and that just means they're going to need the running game even more. And so Kyron Williams, a solid pick there at number 9. Alex is up next with pick number 10.
I'm going to go with Breece Hall. Again, just reiterating I'm a believer in Aaron Rodgers this year. I know, Greg, you're really not, as we talked about before, just with the uncertainty around his injury and whatnot. But if Rodgers truly wants to play, 3 more years, he needs to follow the Tom Brady dink and dunk rule, where you dump the ball off. And if that indeed does happen, Breece Hall will be the recipient of those dump offs. And Breece Hall is one of the shiftiest guys in the league. Last year, I think the year before that, before he got hurt, he's always had, I think like a 90-yard receiving touchdown. So they do look to him in the pass game. I think he's more of a dual threat running back, and the only issue is we got to look for him to stay healthy. He is injury prone, but I think Breece Hall is a steal at this pick here.
Yeah, good assessment there. We're looking on the screen here at Breece Hall's numbers down the stretch last year. He won a lot of people their leagues. He came on great at the end of the year. 4 out of these last 5 games, he had over 20 points. And this, of course, was without Rodgers last year. He finished top 4 last year in running back, and was coming off the injury. It felt like maybe they were easing him into it a little bit in the beginning of the year. So with him at full steam right now, and being a 3-down back, somebody who can catch the ball, who doesn't need to come off the field at all, who gets the goal line carries, I think you could make a very compelling case for Breece Hall to he's been going number 6 in the other draft. So to get him here at number 10 is a lot of value. Like you mentioned, he did have the injury his rookie year. And that's really the only risk factor there. As much as I am not a fan of Rodgers, I don't really feel like that affects Breece Hall's value in the draft as much as it does receivers. And all right, up next is Alvin at number 11, and then Cam's going to have 2 in a row.
All right, give me Puka with 105 receptions, almost 1,500 yards, even 6 TDs. His trajectory can only go up. I see him getting double-digit TDs in the offense that he's going to have next year. And now, I mean, we got to talk about, is he the number 1 receiver, or is Cooper Kupp the number 1 receiver? That's what we're talking about. So now that they got tape on him, I think he's going to, with his work ethic and the knowledge that he has a mate like Cooper Kupp to show him the little tricks of the game, if they roll those double teams toward his way, I think he's still going to come down with those catches. And I think I got a steal at 11.
All right, so Puka came out of nowhere last year to have 1,400 yards, only 6 touchdowns. He was a great reception guy, right? How many he had over 100 catches, broke the rookie record for yards and catches. And so Puka, an amazing rookie year. You would think we've been saying we like young players. You should only get better as a young player. I'm honestly a little bit hesitant to draft Puka and would not be taking him in the first round. He had the one good year. Kupp was out and not really himself for most of last year. If Kupp comes back, I think that could cut into Puka's numbers. I also worry that Stafford could get hurt again, and that could cut into Puka's numbers. And there's a little bit of worry that he came from so out of nowhere that he just kind of had the genie in the bottle that year. Is he going to be able to continue with it? Those would be what I would consider the risks of taking him at this point in the draft. His upside is so great that and every player at this point in the draft is going to have risks and downsides. So good pick at 11. Up next is Cam with 2 in a row.
Yeah. Let me see the board again. Let's see the draft board. What players do I got available? All right. Okay, we'll take Jonathan Taylor. I mean, just a couple years ago, right? A lot of people were taking him number 1 off their boards. He had a holdout with the Colts, so had a delayed start to the season last year, and then he got injured. But when he's fully healthy, he's clearly the Colts' number 1 option. And I love their guard. And I love their line that they got. What's their guard's name? Quentin. I think his name's Quentin. What the heck is? Can't think of his name right now, but he's one of my favorites. If someone could help me out with that in the YouTube chat. But yeah, Jonathan Taylor, I think they're going to have a killer RPO season and read option season with him and Anthony Richardson Jr.
All right. So yeah, as Cam mentioned, and made a good case for it 2 years ago. He was in number 1 overall.
Quentin Nelson, Cameron. Quentin Nelson.
Yeah, Quentin Nelson. Thanks, Alex.
Yeah, so McCafferty level numbers here, right? 1,800 yards rushing, another 360 on the ground, 18 touchdowns rushing, another 2 on the ground. So 20 touchdowns, 2,000 yards combined. McCafferty level numbers. So that's the ceiling on him. Huge upside. I kind of consider him a little bit of a gambler's pick. He did in 2022. He was injured, so he does have an injury history. In 2023, he had the holdout, so there's a little bad blood there. And one of the main reasons they had the holdout was Indianapolis was very concerned about the wear and tear on Jonathan Taylor. It was one of the most interesting stories I read, but they were talking about how much he carried the ball at Wisconsin, and they were adding up the cumulative of his 3 years there. It was the first time I ever heard like your usage in college being held against you in terms of your career wear and tear and the amount of money they should commit to him. But it was a legit point, perhaps, that he has had a lot of wear and tear, a lot of risk. The other biggest risk I see with him is that the new quarterback there is such a running quarterback, Anthony Richardson. I think that's going to really cut into the goal line carries, but he has such upside that he merits a first round pick. All right, so then to package with Taylor.
Yeah, I guess.
Well,
So my question is this am I allowed to draft a flex player? Because I think I'd go for another running back.
Well, we're going to do 2 running backs, 2 receivers, quarterback, and a tight end. So no flex,
Okay.
but you need 2 running backs.
Okay, so I got my running back position filled. That means I need a wide receiver.
We're doing 2
I'll go
running
with
backs.
what's up?
It's 2 running backs. So if you want another running back.
Yeah, I already got my 2 running backs, Christian McCaffrey.
Oh, no,
and,
but this is each of these are separate teams. Sorry if I didn't make that clear. This is a separate
yeah.
from this.
So you're right. I forgot about that. So I'll go back. I'll get a running back then. I'll go with Devon A-Chain. I think that Raheem Mostert is getting older. He's younger. He's got tons of speed. One of the fastest players in the NFL. I think the Dolphins, they clocked in the 4 fastest speeds with Mostert, Hill, and A-Chain. So I like A-Chain this year. He's going to be healthy. He was injured a little bit last year. He was also splitting carries, but I think the Dolphins move him into that primary role. That's why you see him highly drafted or highly placed in a lot of these mock drafts. So I love the upside on him. I love speedy players on my fantasy teams. So, yeah.
Yeah, A-Chain, he was hurt a lot last year, and he is very small and injury a risk. I must not be spelling it right. But even in the games he did play, he was amazing. So if you can get a whole season or even if he misses a few games, I think he's still going to be very productive, right?
He put up I think in his debut, right? He put up like 40 or almost 50 fantasy points, and then everybody scooped him up off the waiver wire right after that performance, and he kept doing good.
Yeah, that was a game of Dolphins scored 70.
Yeah, yup. And the Broncos, started off 1-5 or 0-5?
That was a bad start.
Yeah, let's look at where A-Chain is by average. I'm just curious to see how good he really was here. All players by average. Yeah, so top 4. And Mostert is 33. Most everyone seems to be predicting that he'll fall off or get injured, and they'll hang the reins to A-Chain. So he was number 4 overall by average, and a lot of upside there. Nice, and that gives you 2 running backs. Next up is Alvin. Who do you like to go with, Puka? You're on mute.
Puka, I'm going to go with Alvin Kamara.
Alvin Kamara. All right. We were just looking at players by average last year. Let's get back to that screen.
There's a player I'm hoping to steal in like maybe the 4th or 5th, maybe 6th round of my drafts this year. I'm hoping he drops.
So Kamara was 5th
And
in the league by average. What do you like about him at this point, Alvin?
what I like about Kamara living here in New Orleans and understanding what the inside information on the Saints are going to be. One, Michael Thomas is going to be gone. He's disgruntled. He's been tweeting and going in social media about how he's been mistreated and he doesn't want to be there anymore. So the Saints are going to have to turn to Alvin Kamara to continue to do what he does, get the catches in the backfield, which he almost had as many catches as any wide receiver on his team last season. And then the limited amount of time between the suspension and the off field situation, he still was very productive at his position. And I think he's going to get back on the running game portion of the game because he's going to be their McCaffrey for the Saints, because it's only going to be between Olave and Alvin Kamara. So his numbers are going to go up.
Yeah, Kamara is a really interesting player. I mean, he is turning 30. That's, I think, the biggest risk on him, while you might see him going later. He had these 2 amazing seasons back in 2020 and 18. I was really impressed with him last year that he had the 4-game suspension. I thought he was toast and would come back out of shape and would not be effective last year, and that would be the end of him. And it wasn't. So if we look at where he is going typically, I'm trying to even find him on here, round 6, round 7 is where the ADP is on him. So while I think you make a good case for taking him here, it's likely you would have been able to get him a little bit later. But if he's the guy you want there and think is the best guy for your team, then is the pick you're going to go with there. His age is his biggest risk. They don't have anybody. Well, what about last year? I was hearing that New Orleans was really high on Kendre Miller. Is he going to steal any carries from Kamara possibly, or is he a bust? Or
no, he's still going to be in the backfield, but I don't think he's going to steal that many carries from Kamara because one, like you said, Kamara keeps himself in tremendous shape. And then he didn't have to take as much as the beating, unfortunately, because of the suspension. I think he's going to be very healthy. He's going to come in hungry. I wouldn't be surprised if the Saints actually offered him a nice extension on his contract.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't want to commit too many more years to him at 30. I thought that was when they drafted Miller. I thought they were looking for his replacement. They also brought in Jamal Williams, but he didn't seem to ever get much going in New Orleans.
No, Jamal,
one touchdown at the end of
Jamal
the
is
season.
a fan favorite, but he, for whatever reason, the Saints either didn't know how to use him, but he was not productive in the red zone like they thought he would be. He really, as far as I'm concerned, he was kind of a bust.
Yeah, he was
as far as the red zone for what they hired him for. But as far as picking up the blitz,
touchdowns. The year before, he led the league in touchdowns.
Yeah, he had 17 the year before and then only 1 last year. And it was a cheesy touchdown because they handed it off. I think it was the last play of the game, last play of the season. The Falcons weren't even they thought Winston was going to take a knee, but they gave it to him so he could get his 1 touchdown on the season. I remember the Falcons coach was all mad. He was all
and then look at the production that Detroit had after he left. Detroit was actually better after he left.
Well, they picked up a bunch of guys at Detroit. They changed their running back room completely last season.
Running game, great line. Frank Ragnow is awesome. Their tackle is great too.
Sewell's awesome.
Yeah, he's the second best tackle in the league, behind Trent Williams.
Yeah, I was gonna say you got the first one.
Alvin, what about Jameis Winston? Was that play kind of spell the ending for him? He went against his coach on that, or is he coming back?
Yeah, so I can tell you that Jameis Winston is not coming back. Definitely, he's not coming back. Michael Thomas is not coming back. So you
What about the
might
other
be in some
guy? The other receiver there is a free agent too. Rashid Shaheem, I think is his name. Shaheed. He's a
Yeah.
free agent.
Rashid Shaheed. He has tremendous speed and he can take the top off of a defense, but sometimes he can't catch a cold, and he's always hurt. He's always hurt.
Trash.
Are they gonna let him go?
I don't think they're going to
would.
let him go
Oh, yeah.
because he's not someone that causes is a big cap hit for them. So I think they will bring him back.
Well, he's a free agent. I think a team like Kansas City or somebody could throw a lot of money at him.
Yeah, let him walk and draft a receiver. This receiving draft is so stacked. I'd take a chance on one of these rookies.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, maybe an LSU guy, Brian Thomas, could be there for you guys.
No, they
So
don't
do you
need none
think
of that. They
Jameis
play
is
the
done in the
Cowboys
league?
this season.
Is Jameis done in the league?
He's a good
I don't think
backup.
James is done. I don't think he's
Agreed.
done in the league as long as he's willing to play a backup role. But he does. I think James does envision himself one day back as a starter.
Yeah. Yeah. So he's got that, potential being the number one overall pick. I think teams will want to take a chance on him. All right. Let's go next to, and I want to try to wrap this up by the fourth quarter. So we'll just finish with this round here so we can enjoy this game. It's coming down. It's going to be a fun fourth quarter to watch together. Let's go next to Alex. Your team with Breeze Hall is up for their second pick.
I'm gonna go. Can you show me the board again just to make sure?
Yeah. Let's see here.
Also, Alvin, Torian Prince is going off out of nowhere against the Bucks. So I think, did you say, were you the one who said that don't expect him to? I think he's hit 4 threes.
Wow.
Yeah, the others getting magic at home tonight, I guess.
It's really pissing me off. I know the Lakers are abysmal from the 3-point line, but I think they're shooting what, 60%. At least the Bucks are only down 6. Anyways, so I think you gotta go with. I'm gonna go with another running back because this is such a receiver heavy fantasy draft this year. There'll be some good value in the later rounds. I'm gonna go with Jahmyr Gibbs to pair with.
That's a good point. I mean, if we look at the guys going in the third round, there's no receivers there. I mean, no running backs there.
Right.
So you got to grab your running backs early. It looks like this year.
And again, Gibbs will get some passes. I think, like he did last year. And the guy again, gosh, I think I might have the 1 and 2 best open field running backs in the draft.
Yeah, Gibbs has the potential to be the next McCaffrey. He can do it all. He's got the speed. So I think that's a solid pick there. He's been going in the first round of most fantasy drafts. All right, Jeremiah, who do you like to go with Kyren Williams?
There we go. I'm gonna stick with the running back theme as well. Travis Etienne in Jacksonville. He's got that rapport with Trevor Lawrence. He'll catch quite a few out of the backfield as well.
Yeah, ETN was the number 3 running back last year. Then that offense should only get better. They underachieved as a team last year. So I really like him a lot there. I think the biggest risk on him is they drafted a running back pretty high last year. A guy, I think his name's Tank out of Auburn. And so there was some worry that Tank would cut into the goal line carries, but that didn't really pan out last year. And if anything, one of my, if it's like a tiebreaker with running backs, or one of the things I consider a plus is if you can grab the backup running back in the very late rounds, that kind of protects you from him being injured, right? Like right now, we don't know who Breeze Hall's backup is going to be, so we can't grab that backup now. But with ETN, we clearly know it's this guy, Tank Johnson. He's going really late rounds. So you kind of have that lock-in protection. And you also don't want a situation where like Najee Harris and then his backup, Jalen Warren's like getting picked a couple rounds later. He's not available at the very end. So that's another thing I really like about ETN is that you can get that insurance for him in the late rounds. You can't really get that insurance for these guys. C-Mac's kind of the same way. with his backup. Although I wonder, Cameron, if what are you guys hearing about that other running back, Jordan, I think was his name. Is he pushing for the number 2 spot, you think?
I think it'll just be McCaffrey getting all the carries.
Well, if
He's been
McCaffrey goes
working.
down, though,
Elijah Mitchell.
well, they have
Elijah
Mitchell,
Mitchell.
but I wonder
Yeah,
if,
Elijah Mitchell is the number 2 guy. He's got good speed. It's a good. Honestly, you can plug any running back into Kyle Shanahan's scheme. He made Mostert look good. I mean, Mostert is a great player, but he fell off again before he went back to the Dolphins, and he looked elite when he was on the Niners on that
Yeah.
Super Bowl run they had in 2020.
I
But I
remember.
think you can plug any running back there, whoever's on the roster. You can grab someone off the free agency market, and they'll do just fine because George Kittle is one of the best blocking tight ends in the game. I mentioned earlier we got the best tackle in the game, Trent Williams. So the running game is always primed to be there, and that all has to do with the scheming and blocking that the Niners are doing.
Makes sense. All right. Lisa, who do you like to go with? A.J. Brown.
Well, I was going to take a running back. Well, I'm going to take a running back, but everybody took my favorites.
Yeah.
So
You got Saquon Barkley.
I know, but man, I'm worried because he's always injured. Always
Yeah,
injured.
exactly. He's on my do not draft list.
Yeah. So you know what? I'm just going to be a homer. I think I don't want to take. Okay. Let me see here. Okay. I'm gonna go with, I guess I'm just gonna be a homer. I'm just gonna take Pacheco. I don't really see anybody. I was gonna take James Cook, but I don't trust the Bills to run him as much as they should. I'm just gonna go with Pacheco. I think he's gonna have a bigger year this year.
Yeah, he should only get better. I mean, Clyde Edwards-Helaire is probably gone, right? He's a free agent.
Yeah, I think he's gone. I think McKinnon's gone as well.
He's probably going to retire. He's getting old, McKinnon.
Yeah.
So it's going to be all Pacheco back there, and so he could get even more carries.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll probably draft one, but it'll be a later round.
Yeah. I like Pacheco's outlook for this year. All right. So, and how do you guys feel in your first 2 rounds here? Do you always go best available talent, or do you try to get a quarterback and a running back, or a receiver and a running back, or 2 receivers? Does anybody have a specific strategy, or are you just kind of taking best
Depends on how it goes, really,
Yeah,
and
anything but a
where I'm
quarterback.
placed in the draft.
Yeah, that's true. All right, I'm gonna go next here, and I will go with I'm gonna pass on Garrett Wilson. I don't believe in Rodgers. Devontae Adams, I don't know who his quarterback's gonna be, so I'm gonna go Stephon Diggs here. He is pushing 30, so I'm kind of breaking my rule there. But
I don't think, Greg, I would have ever thought to hear the words "I don't believe in Aaron Rodgers" ever come out of anyone's mouth in my lifetime.
I mean, everybody gets old. You can't beat Father Time. I didn't want Brady to come back anymore either, you know. So
I expect Diggs to have a way better season this year with Gabe Davis leaving town in the free agency market. The Bills
yeah,
will
the risk would
probably
be
grab a rookie receiver and try to develop him, but Diggs is for sure going to be that number 1 role. So look to Allen
as long as he for sure comes back. I think there's a little bit of risk that he doesn't come back.
He's coming back.
Once Buffalo changed their offensive coordinator midseason, he really fell out of being featured. And so there's a little bit of worry around that. But Diggs, he rarely gets hurt, and he's been steady performer. He was my go-to first round pick last year. And mostly because Josh Allen is so durable and so good that he can make anybody in there look good. So,
I think he'll 100% be back. I think that they're going to try to I think they're going to try to incorporate him more simply because they didn't near the end of the year last year. and also because he really didn't squawk about it. So he seemed to just put his head down and do his job. So I think they're really going to try to incorporate him more this season.
Yeah, well, then that would bode well for him. He probably could go higher if all those things work out for him and he can stay healthy for one more year. All right, Alvin, who do you like to go with Bijan?
I'm going with Derrick Henry. I finished first in with 280 carries, second with 1,167 yards, and tied for seven with 12 TDs. And I think that's not bad for a running back that's in the 30 club. And I don't see that much of a decline, especially if you come on over to the Cowboys. He will
Yeah.
definitely keep up with double-digit TDs.
Yeah, if he
And
goes
don't
to the
have to
Cowboys,
carry
then I could see him having a big year there as their goal line back. He is pushing it in terms of age. 2 years ago he was injured, but even in his injured year, I think he had 10 touchdowns still. So even if you don't get a full season from him, he's going to be very productive and very steady there. All right, next up is my other team. I'm gonna go with DJ Moore. DJ Moore last year was let's look at where he was last year in the receivers. I was really surprised to see how high up he was. Um, no, not there he is. And Caleb Williams coming in, I'm kind of betting on, and that should help his game go up. And so going with DJ Moore there. Let's go. Next up is Lisa. Who do you like to go with, Jefferson? Oh, you're on mute.
Muted, Lisa.
Thank you. I was just talking to myself anyway. So just looking to see who was available. I really kind of need to go ahead and get a running back because they seem to be running out quickly. Ooh, let me take. And I'm sorry, who is my choice on that one?
Justin Jefferson.
Oh, okay. Let me go ahead. I'm gonna take Kenneth Walker.
What do you like about him?
Not much. I just feel like I'm running out of space. I'm running out of time, and I just need to pick somebody. And I probably trust him more than
He's had two. He's been in the league 2 years. He's had two good seasons, even though he's missed a few games each year. He's a big time playmaker.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's decent. Nothing really stands out big about him. I think. I just think he's just a decent choice at this point. Ugh.
Okay. Jeremiah, who do you want to go with? Chase.
All right. Well, like Lisa, I also talk to myself because sometimes I need an expert opinion. Unlike Lisa, I'm going to go with James Cook. I think he's going to get a lot more touches now that they got Joe Brady as the offensive coordinator. He started getting the ball a lot more after they got rid of the other guy halfway through the season. I think it'll be a more balanced attack in Buffalo, and James Cook's a good pick here.
Yeah, James Cook came on, like you said, the last half last year. He's good at catching the ball, good at running the ball, does a little bit of everything.
Alvin's little brother.
He's he's young and so should be able to have healthy legs. And if he could start getting the goal line touches, they had that guy Murray last year. They would bring in sometimes at the goal line, and that guy's getting old. So if he's gone, that could really open things up for Cook. All right, Alex, we're on our last two picks here. Alex, who do you want with CeeDee Lamb?
Can you bring up that sheet again just to make sure this person wasn't picked?
Yep.
I'm gonna go with your favorite player, Greg. Can you guess?
Garrett Wilson.
Yeah, yep.
That's a good pick, Alex.
Yep, and again for the same reasons, Greg, and we've had this conversation before. I just trust Aaron Rodgers, and I think he's just gonna have a hell of a season with Real Wilson.
I think he will too. He's clearly going to be A-Rod's number one go-to guy. Did you watch the Hard Knocks, Alex, with the Jets?
I did. They had chemistry right off the bat.
Well, you can see it
I
in
agree.
the preseason touchdown. Rodgers threw a perfect back shoulder touchdown to Wilson, right? I don't know if you guys remember that play in the preseason.
Also, for this game, Greg, Anthony Davis is hurt and questionable.
Yo, he's grabbing his shoulder. I mean, I wish DraftKings had a bet. I wish you could bet on Anthony Davis to get injured in a game.
You probably they'd lose every time.
Wouldn't be good odds, Cam.
All right, Cam, finish off our draft here, and we'll turn into this game for the fourth quarter. Who do you want to go with, C-Mac?
Yeah, I've been seeing. You know what? I'll take a shot on the rookie. I'll take a shot on the rookie right there. I see him at the top of the round 2, Marvin Harrison.
Marvin Harrison. Who are you betting going to be throwing him the ball?
If he gets drafted to a team like the Cardinals, I mean, there's Kyler Murray's #1 option right out the gate. I believe in rookie receivers. I mean, look at Odell Beckham, Randy Moss last year, Puka Nacua. I mean, even Jamar Chase had a great rookie season. Everyone is expecting Marvin Harrison to break out and have one of those great seasons as well. So, yeah, let me take a shot on him. And then the other guy I'll take is Saquon. I'll take Saquon Barkley. You know, his big knack is if he's healthy, he's a great player. If he's injured, you know what? I'm so confident in my drafting strategy that my team is going to be so stacked on the bench that I can just replace Barkley and hope that when he's healthy, that's a good 20 points I'm putting in my starting lineup.
There you go. That's the right outlook to have if you're going to take a guy like Barkley. Harrison, I want to kind of back up to Harrison, so Kyler Murray, has he ever had a receiver be in the top 10? I don't think so, right? Even in the
his best receiver was DeAndre Hopkins when they traded him from Houston.
Yeah,
but he was probably top 10 then.
Yeah, he was for sure a top 10 receiver.
Yeah.
I don't think he put up top 10 numbers when he was on Arizona, did he?
I don't know. He had some pretty good seasons out there in the desert.
Yeah, I mean, he was decent. I don't think Kyler's he's a run first quarterback. There
was that one year the Cardinals, they started off 8-0. That all had to do with Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins.
Well, there's a better than 50% chance. There's a better than 50% chance Harrison's going to wind up in New England. Do you still want him if he's on New England?
Yes.
Yeah. Maybe not. Maybe I'll want to grab him in the 3rd or 4th round. But if he's on the Cardinals, if the Cardinals grab him with that 4th pick and say New England picks up a quarterback in the draft, I love Harrison on the Cardinals, and I think he's worthy for a 2nd round pick.
And then you like Hollywood Brown if Harrison goes to the Cardinals too, his production to go up. Because I know, Greg, you don't like Hollywood Brown, right? You said you're down on him. I think with a healthy Kyler Murray, Hollywood Brown will be good too. And if he gets Harrison on the team, that's another option too. So
Hollywood Brown's a free agent.
Yeah,
he'll probably be coming to Kansas City.
Is he really a free agent?
Yeah. And Kansas City can do better than Hollywood Brown.
I don't know. When it comes to our GM, he's very frugal when it comes to wide receivers because we got Patrick Mahomes, as you've seen in the last couple of years. We did develop our defense, but I don't know. He doesn't pay the wide receivers, so it'll be interesting to see. Hollywood Brown has been floating around Chiefs Kingdom, so it'll be interesting.
That would be a good fit for him, I think, honestly.
Hey, Lisa, how do you feel about taking over as the #1 hated franchise over the Cowboys now?
Who hates the Chiefs?
Baby, bring it on. I am ready for all of it. As long as we get rings and trophies, you can hate me as much as you want.
I don't hate the Chiefs or the Cowboys.
Haters, you're doing something right, Lisa.
It's a new survey that just came out. The Chiefs were voted the #1. They surpassed the Cowboys now.
Bring it. What did you say, Cam?
Oh, I was just saying,
yes.
Can y'all hear me? I was just saying, if you got haters, you're doing something right,
That's what Robert Saleh said.
Yeah, Alvin.
If you got
Yeah,
haters, then you're doing something right.
yeah, Alvin, as a Packer fan, I don't hate the Cowboys either. I mean, you got Mike McCarthy, that's a Wisconsin tie, and you got your tight end from the University of Wisconsin, Jake Ferguson. My wife went to high school with his brother, so I've met the Fergusons. So I have no problem with the Cowboys, and CeeDee Lamb won me a fantasy championship, so no hate here.
I hate is a strong word, and I don't hate the Cowboys. I dislike the Cowboys strongly, which is really funny because my nephew used to play for the Cowboys, but that's a different story. But it's the Cowboys fans and Steve, and I hate to agree with Stephen A, but he is 100% right. It's the damn fans. I hate y'all because you swear that you're going to win every single year. You're going to win the Super Bowl. And then you cry like you're surprised that you didn't even make it through the playoffs. And then it starts all over again. And then like, I don't remember who was talking about it because I was out to dinner, but somebody's talking about how everybody talks about the Cowboys all the time, and you guys don't do anything, and all they do is talk about the Cowboys. And I know a lot of it has to do with Jerry, but that's why I can't stand the Cowboys.
Lisa, you're going to be going through that after the next few years because you're going through the same cycle that the Cowboys of the 90s went through. I know that you know Kansas City was not relevant in the modern Super Bowl era. They were relevant in the NFL championship era, the AFC championship era.
Well, okay, now wait, say that again. We weren't what? We weren't relevant when in the modern era.
Relevant now that you're winning, and you're going to go
Yes.
through the same cycle that the Cowboys
Oh,
are
you
going
mean in
through.
the next in 10 years, you mean? That's fine. We'll take it
And
in 10 years.
even before the Mahomes era, y'all weren't that quite that relevant.
Hey man, we were getting there when Andy Reid came because we were 2-14 when Andy Reid came. And then after that, we've had winning seasons every single year. So come on. I think we actually turned
Who
it
was that? Who
around.
was that
We
coach
had,
you guys had before Reed?
oh my
Mike
gosh, which one?
Schottenheimer?
Which oh
Spagnola.
Schottenheimer, yeah, he was back in the day, and
He
then
was getting you guys to the playoffs every year.
we couldn't get it over the hump though.
Look at
But
that.
even when Andy came, we still couldn't get over the hump with Alex Smith, but we got a lot closer. So
Hey, D'Lo, just watching this Lakers game real quick. D'Angelo Russell's got 29 points, and he shot 7 of 8 from
Yeah,
the
give me a
three.
break. That is the biggest outlier I've ever seen. The guy is absolutely washed up. He's trash.
He's hitting
He's just
everything
so
tonight.
angry.
And
So
and
angry.
AD's back out on the floor. He was grabbing his shoulder like something popped out earlier, acting like he was gonna miss 2 weeks, and now he's out there just fine. I remember last year against the Warriors, Shaq and Charles were laughing on the set because the replay showed someone's elbow. He got elbowed in the side of his head. They evaluated him for a concussion, and then he ended up having to get wheelchaired. He had to get on a wheelchair, and he barely got tapped on his head. They barely touched him. It wasn't even a full elbow. It would look like the sorriest, wimpiest injury I'd seen too. And Shaq and Charles were making fun of him. You guys can pull the segment up on YouTube. TNT guys are always funny. I enjoy watching them break down the game and joke around on set.
Yeah, I
Hey,
think
those
this
Bucks are gonna win this game
D'Lo just
tonight.
hit another one. I think this is indicative of the Bucks' defensive problems. That's why these
Yeah, they've
Lakers
been
guys
giving
are-
up some open
Start.
threes.
D'Lo needs to be this player though for the Lakers. I mean, he played like this in Brooklyn. He was an all-star type caliber player over there on the East Coast.
I mean, this is one of his better years. It looks like he's averaging like 18 a game. I've just every time I've watched him, he's just a brick.
oh
It's just
dang.
a brick. But this year looks like he's having a great year. I think the Bucks still win this game though. The Lakers are just making some tough shots, and I think we're gonna fall back to the mean, the statistical average here, where the Lakers are just gonna brick shit up all the time. Their defense is good though. They're playing great defense against the Bucks. I'll give them that.
Oh, is that a deep three? Oh no.
Yeah, as great as LA is playing, they're only up by 2 here.
Hey, still, that's incredible without LeBron. Oh, he just banked that layup.
It shows too that Chris Middleton is very, very important for this Bucks team.
Back to the Cowboys talk. I respect fans that have a lot of passion for their team and that think they're going to win every year and that get upset when they lose. Like, I don't see how that's become a bad thing. Every team, every fan should think your team is going to win and should rep your guys. I was wearing the Cam Newton shirt when he was our quarterback in New England. This is our guy. We're still going to the playoffs with Cam. And I don't know why the fans get hate on for them. To me, I think it's Jerry Jones is meddling and that I don't care for with the team. He needs to let his coaches coach the team. We don't need to hear from him after every game. Yeah, I disagree with Stephen A. and saying it's the fans.
I think if they got, oh gosh, I'm sorry, but the fans are pretty obnoxious. But
they're just like Stephen A. It's like Stephen A.
But that's his job. He's paid to be obnoxious. But here's the deal: if they didn't get so much, press, if they didn't talk about them every single day for hours on end on these national shows.
I don't get that complaint either, because here's the thing: there's 4 sports channels on at any one time. So anytime they're talking about anything I don't want to hear, I just flip from ESPN to NFL Network.
Exactly. And that's why I record everything, because I can just fast forward through all the Dallas talk. But it does happen a lot more than they should, because they're not that relevant when it comes to a lot of things. I mean, let me speak for someone who represents a team who just won back-to-back Super Bowls. The Dallas Cowboys gets talked about more than the Kansas City Chiefs, hands down. Any place you go,
someone made a point that it was like that's what the fans want. It's what the ratings are. But here's you're the Super Bowl champion 2-time. Why are you letting the Cowboys live in your head? They're not even one of your division rivals.
The Cowboys don't live in my head. This is a conversation. We're talking about the Cowboys. I'm telling you how I feel. They're not living in my head by any stretch of the imagination.
I thought you were saying they were your most hated team.
No. I can't stand them, but that's been years. That has nothing to do with my team. It's just been brewing because, way back in the day, they were America's team and everybody loved them and they marketed them really well. But I mean,
wasn't way back in the day. That's today. We're still America's team.
No, we just had that discussion. But seriously,
you either love the Cowboys or you hate them.
Way back in the day, in the 70s, and stuff, they marketed them very well to everybody, to the men and to the women, because then they had the cheerleaders too. So they marketed them very well, and then they brought out this America's team, and everybody just bought in because of the marketing, and that's fine. That's really good, but we're in 2024 now, and you're still talking about America's team. You haven't been relevant for the past 2 decades or almost 3 decades. And you're wondering why people hate you guys, because you're not relevant and they talk about you like you just won the Super Bowl. That's why. I'm just telling you.
If you want to talk about relevancy, we may not be relevant when it comes to the playoffs, but we're definitely relevant when it comes to the regular season. The Cowboys are relevant. They're very relevant. In fact, that quarterback that you love so much, guess what? He grew up a Cowboys fan.
I know. And guess what? Joe Burrow, he grew up a Chiefs fan.
He was inspired to play quarterback because of the Dallas Cowboys. His favorite quarterbacks were on the Dallas Cowboy teams.
What does that have to do with the price of tea in China?
That has everything to do with the price of tea in China, because if he doesn't watch Troy Aikman and the Cowboys win those championships, he doesn't be inspired to be the player that he is, besides the fact that his father played in the same city that the Cowboys were.
That's not necessarily true because if there weren't the Dallas Cowboys, there are other teams, and the Kansas City Chiefs were in Dallas or in Texas before they came to Kansas City. So if there weren't a Dallas Cowboys, there would have been a Texans team, and that would have been the Chiefs, and he would have grown up watching them. So I mean, spare me. He grew up in a professional locker room. That has nothing to do with the Dallas
All right,
Cowboys
so,
or any
so
other.
Lisa, what do you have to do in the NFL to be relevant?
I don't know. I
I
honestly
think if
don't.
you're in the playoff, if you're a playoff contender on a regular basis, you're a relevant team. And the
That's really
Cowboys have
funny.
been in playoff
They
contention.
always lose. They
because
always lose in the playoffs. You can't
because
come
Alvin-
and say you're going to win the
that's
Super
that's
Bowl.
a different
when
label. You can say
when you
William,
don't
the
have a
always
resume
lose
to
they're
back
in
it
the,
up.
in the Super Bowl. What are we talking about? The Buffalo
regular
Bills
season-
lost 3 straight Super Bowl. Are they not relevant in history?
The regular season does matter. It really does matter because it gets you to the off season or to the postseason. However, boasting about being relevant in the regular season ain't that big of a flex, unfortunately. And I'm not trying to be rude. I'm just telling you because as a Kansas City Chiefs fan, we always have the Bengals fans throw out, oh, 3-1, 3-1, and we're like, I don't care. Because Patrick Mahomes was 3-1 against Tom Brady in the regular season, but we don't talk about that because he's 2-0 in the postseason. That doesn't matter. So the regular season does matter to get you to the postseason, but that's the only reason it matters. So you can flex regular season all you want. That's great, but it doesn't matter when you get to the postseason.
But Lisa,
they
I
go
can,
to
Us
the
I can
Bengals are a
flex
bad
legacy.
matchup for y'all.
Lisa, I can flex legacy. You're now getting in that realm of championships that has mattered. Once you have been to the top, once you have won
Okay.
those 3 out of 5 championships, you no longer can play a season and say, oh, getting to this, you can only talk about championships. So now
I
you're
know
in a
that.
different conversation. So if
Oh,
we're
I know.
talking about legacies, even though you're relevant, you are not even in the conversation in the room where the Cowboys are.
But that's not what we were talking about. We were talking about relevancy today, and you actually brought that up. So I'm going to leave that at that.
All right, let's see if AD can finish this game off here. It's 108.
I'm with you, Lisa.
105.
I'm with everything you said.
It's the Bengals stuff.
Let's dial in on this game for the finish here. AD taking a charge there, or what did he get? What kind of call did he get on that? Oh, it's a goaltend too, right?
Oh.
And now he's at the line. Lakers up 5 with 4 minutes to go. We're gonna get a nice buzzer beater here.
I want the Bucks to win just so these teams on the West can start stacking up L's and the Warriors can start climbing up the rankings. Only reason why I'd want the Bucks to win.
That's the only reason I want the Bucks to lose. The Celtics get one game closer to clinching.
Oh, that is true.
Lopez, he's from the Fresno area.
Yeah, seeing the big guy. Ooh, gets rejected at the rim there.
Ooh.
Bad foul after the block. Yeah, Giannis. We'll try to throw it down on Giannis, young man.
So you guys aren't big on Marvin Harrison Jr. his rookie year, or no?
I think it's really about where he's drafted. I agree with you wholeheartedly. If he goes to Arizona, I think he's dangerous immediately. But as Greg was saying, in New England, I mean, they ain't got no one to throw him the
Well,
football.
and you could say he's dangerous immediately, but that puts him like his ceiling is what is if he goes to a good quarterback, he can be as good as Deebo Samuel, as good as Mike Evans led the league in touchdowns, as good as DK Metcalf. With a good quarterback, he can be as good as these guys that are still available. So I don't see any reason to take him over any of these guys that are still here in the 3rd round. Ray Rice, Rashee Rice, rather. Like all these guys are like a good year for Harrison. If he has a bad year, he would wind up being meaning a bad quarterback, he could be somewhere else. So I don't see the ceiling to justify taking him in the second round. That's where he's been going though. So a lot of people must see that, right? If we look at the this is the ADPs, has had him going in the second round consistently.
Yeah, the
My
last
main fantasy league is a dynasty league, so I look at the rookies a little differently, probably.
Yeah, in a dynasty league,
He's a number one pick.
Yeah. Yeah, the Cowboys are, I was reading up on this guy, Jonathan Brooks from University of Texas, and the Cowboys are supposedly eyeing him to come in at running back. So Jonathan Brooks was having a great year at University of Texas, and he tore his ACL, and he had the ACL surgery done by the Cowboys team doctors and staff at their facility with their doctors. And so they know the most about him more than anybody, whether or not they think he's going to come back and be able to be there. And if he gets drafted by the Cowboys, I would say that he's probably the best dynasty player coming out this year. I would.
How about this was pretty cool that happened in the NFL Combine. Blake Corum, the Michigan running back, he went and did the bench press, and he pulled out 27 reps. That's the same amount as the top prospect at the offensive tackle, Joe Alt. Joe Alt also put up 27 reps, who's an offensive tackle and twice this dude's size.
Yeah, Blake Corum, I'd like to see the Chargers take him in the second round and have Harbaugh make him his starter. That's what I would be predicting for him. I think that's a great landing place for him. Eckler's an unrestricted free agent, likely not to be back. And he doesn't have that breakaway speed for the NFL, but he's a bruiser, one of the best goal line backs I've ever seen in college.
Yep, he'll get you 3 or 4 carry probably.
So if he goes to the right team, he could be a very good player this year. And he's going, if we look at, this is why I'm having fun drafting these right now, because Blake Corum is going in the 10th round. If he goes to the Chargers, he'll suddenly be coming in the 3rd round, because as we saw, there's no good running backs left by the 3rd and 4th round here. So I'm taking Brooks and Corum all day long back here as kind of lottery tickets, hoping they get drafted by the right teams. I'm also trying to speculate which receivers would the Chiefs or Bills be looking, because I think they both will be looking for receivers in the draft. I don't think that Brian Taylor will drop that far. The LSU receiver, the second LSU receiver. So then it's like, who else are they looking at? Kind of in this range, these guys here, AD Mitchell, Franklin from Oregon, and Xavier Worthy. Those are the guys that could go in that spot. I probably like Mitchell the best.
I tell you, in Chiefs Kingdom, they're talking about Adonai Mitchell, Xavier Worthy, and Lad McConkey's coming up a lot.
Yeah, Lad McConkey had a good Senior Bowl and is starting to raise in charts. And I think you could get him in the second round.
He looked really good in the combine too.
Yeah,
Mitchell looked great in the combine as well. He's got to move that fast at that body frame. That's pretty incredible.
Yeah, Lad played at Georgia. He was hurt a lot at Georgia, so we didn't really see a full body of work, and he does have an injury risk, but I think he could be, he could be a good, and that's one of the reasons I'm not so high on Rashee Rice. I feel like for sure Kansas City is going to bring in some more receivers. So I don't think Rice's stats are going to go up a whole lot. I think what he did this year, he'll do again, which is still good, but I don't see him, he's getting drafted a lot in the second round. He didn't go tonight. in the second round. But
Yeah, a lot of people are trying to peg him as the wide receiver number one, while others are trying to say no, he's wide receiver number two. They're going to bring somebody else in. I tend to think he's going to be a number two. They're going to bring somebody else in to take the top off.
yeah, well, yeah, I think they'll get a veteran and draft
And
somebody,
draft.
right?
I
So-
agree. Yeah. Oh, and hey, Alvin, I put this in the chat. I do have a Cowboys jersey, so take that for what it's worth. It's hanging in my closet. I've never worn it in public, but
Who
I
is
got that.
it?
I got the Cowboys jersey.
What player is it?
Jabril Cox. He's not on. He's not on the team anymore. He went to Washington. So
Oh, nice. That was your family member?
yeah, that was my family member. So I got the hat and everything. So I will represent Dallas when I have to represent Dallas.
Don't worry.
Oh.
Giannis, double. 32, 14, and 10.
Wow. I don't know if you guys are behind me, but Dame just threw in and one on a three.
Yeah, that's what Dame does in Dame time. That's a known fact. He shows up every time in the last 2 minutes of the game.
Whew. Man, this will put them up 6. They turned that around quick. Oh yeah, the game cast here is ahead of us all. The Lakers are blowing it at home.
They are blowing it.
Where's AD?
Where's the refs? Where's the refs? They've had their side all season long.
All right.
Oh, there's a three.
Yeah, Hashimura keeping a minute. Pick and roll. Dame to Giannis. Connaughton for the reverse.
Oh, another. See, yeah, Giannis has been dishing the ball out good tonight.
Austin Reeves is handling way too much here. D'Lo's been hot. They should go to him. There they is. Oh! Yeah, it's an updated. Now it's
Oh, is that Russell?
Yeah.
D'Lo, ice cold vein.
Wow.
Man.
He's got 39.
Yeah, what's his
That's
career
crazy.
best?
Oh, no.
He's 8 of 11 from 3. What I wonder what his career numbers are.
That's got to be a career number for the three-pointers. 8 threes. I'm sure he got some 40 balls there in Brooklyn.
What are they calling here?
Oh, he traveled? Oh, they're saying they pushed? He pushed him? Are they going to challenge it? Let's see.
Oh my gosh. The bump was way early. She passed on the bump call.
What?
Yeah, what? That was a late whistle.
Wow. So yeah, they're gonna challenge that. I don't know. These things are judgment calls. I don't
They're
as
probably
I
not
saw
going to
it,
win. I saw the foul, yeah, but you're right, Greg. The ref just blew the whistle late.
yeah, the foul was there. You can't put your hands on the dribbler below the free throw line like that. But she didn't call that, let it go, and then he traveled, and then she blew the whistle. So it's like, I don't know if that makes it reversible.
But if you're Lakers, I mean, what? There's 30 seconds left in the game? 40 seconds?
Almost a minute.
You just
So
gotta hope
52 seconds.
if Giannis
You
misses
got no
one of these
choice.
free
Might as
throws-
well just use the challenge if it's that close of a call. They might
Right.
end up losing, but
Right. The foul's right there. If they're
how
trying
far
to-
do you guys think the Lakers can realistically go in the playoffs this year? Say they squeak in at the 7-8 spot.
Realistically, yeah. I
You
don't think
always have
nobody's
a-
beaten Denver. To be honest, I don't think nobody's beaten Denver. So realistically, Western Conference Finals. Best they can do.
Well, you always have a puncher's chance when you have LeBron.
I agree.
He can get
But
hot.
man, that Denver team looks good.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah,
I'll be surprised if they even get to Denver in the finals. They're going to have to win a bunch of series. What do you think, Cameron? You think they can win a series at all?
I think the only series I think they could win is facing a young team in the first round. I mean, LA's already got the championship experience, right? But I need to see LA. I need them to be hot coming into the playoffs. If they're going to be at the bottom rankings, I need them to be coming into the playoffs on a winning streak or winning a good sample of games. You can't just be squeaking every game out here and there. You know what I'm saying? Can't be just going 500, staying afloat for the rest of the season. You really need to pull away from the pack, or at least start getting hot and roll in with a little bit of momentum.
Yeah, if Denver finishes as the 1 seed and the Lakers, let's suppose the Lakers finish, say, 2-7, and they play Minnesota or OKC. I would say it's 50-50. The Lakers could win that, but then they will have to play the other one of Minnesota or OKC or the Clippers. And again, it would be 50-50. So like 2 times 50, the odds of them winning both of those, I don't like, let alone the odds of them then running into Denver.
They did it last year, last year they were at the bottom of the rankings all year, made some trades. After the All-Star break, they had one of the top defensive teams in the league, and then was able to take out the new number 2 seeded Grizzlies in the first round, and then take on the Warriors in the second round. A lot of people, including myself, thought the Warriors were going to make a run that postseason, and then they had no chance. They had no chance against Denver.
Yeah, and in
More
retrospect,
close in all 4 games.
That Grizzlies team was pretty weak in the playoffs. Oh, she's giving him an N1. I guess he was in the circle.
Oh,
It looked like a charge, but maybe he was in the
It
circle.
did look like a charge.
and y'all say Dame doesn't play defense. That's what they need out of Dame, though. If he can make plays like that.
Let's see the replay. He's above the circle. Wow. I don't know.
Oh, his feet might have been moving. I don't know if he was set.
Oh yeah, that one's.
Those are bang bang plays, though. Those are really hard to get call, It's
Yeah. Yeah, it'd be nice if you could just have a quick little replay on your phone as a referee, huh?
Those kind of plays, you just got to be consistent. You got to have like a count in your head. How we've been calling this all game. We just got to be consistent. Nobody really argued it too much, so.
What are the refs talk? What are they huddled up talking about? How they can fix the game with 39 seconds?
Now, just like the players, you want to recap the situation here. Here's what we expect to have happen, right? Lakers are going to have to foul. Let's make sure we give them a chance to steal the ball, then get the foul right away so nothing escalates physically. Do they have a timeout left or not? Are they in the bonus? You're every timeout, the crew will just kind of recap what the game situation is.
So Cam, you keep talking about refs. I listened one time. I was sick and I couldn't log on and rebut or anything. But do you really believe that the refs are throwing games? I mean, whether it's football, basketball, whatever. Do you?
I don't want to believe it. I only believe it when I'm watching the game, right? And I see the ref. This happened when the Warriors played the Lakers. The Lakers are at the free throw line. He misses the free throw. Then they blow the whistle. And what do they call? free throw violation. You can call a free throw violation on every single free throw attempt in the NBA. And that's when they decide to call it in like the last 30 seconds of that game. So the Lakers can get the edge.
But was it
and-
egregious?
Oh, it was for sure egregious. It was egregious because I turned on the game the next day and watched them play the Hawks and watched Draymond do the same exact thing. And even Trae Young was he stepped into the lane and then came back out. Refs didn't call nothing. They didn't call nothing. And I was telling my girlfriend, I was like, do you believe it's rigged after seeing this? Because look, they're not calling it here. But just last night when they were playing the Lakers, they had to magically make that call. But the Lakers, though, there's been a few games this season where you pull up the free throw disparity with them and some other teams, especially like in the fourth quarter. Just about a month ago against the Raptors is one that I clearly think of. They had a 23-2 free throw difference in just the fourth quarter. So, and it's been happening with the Lakers all season. I don't know. I don't want to say it's rigged, right? But sometimes I feel like the whistles favor a team, especially late down the stretch, especially with big media teams too, like New York or LA.
Interesting.
Yeah, so then the question becomes, is this a league-wide thing? Is it just a few referees? Is it, has LeBron earned the respect of the referees over his 20 years to where, he might get calls that other guys don't get?
I mean, Tom Brady had a favorable call with the officials. I mean, you barely touched the guy, and they'd give the other team roughing the passer.
That's true.
Or I mean,
20
if we look at
seconds here for the game, let's focus in on the game.
The
for
ball
last
in that
20
Raider
seconds.
game. I don't care if the tuck rule and what the rules are. You watch it. He stopped. He was not that. He stopped. He wasn't passing the ball. That was clearly like
D'Lo for the
He made
lead.
that rule up for that game.
That's true.
Lakers took the lead.
Here we go. Oh my gosh. Okay. This is really exciting. Okay. But yeah, I agree with you to a point. But that's why we were arguing about the call when Mahomes got really upset because they called the offensive offsides because that's never happened to him in his professional career, and it's never happened. And it's never happened to Andy Reid as a head coach in his 23 whatever years as a head coach. That's never happened to him without getting a warning. So that's why they were so upset. And it happened 5 times prior in that game, and so that's why they were upset. So things like that makes me think sometimes, because the person who called that was Cheffers, and he has an ongoing feud with the Chiefs. I know a lot of people don't believe that, but I can, if you want to pull it up, there was 7-10 years ago, Kelsey had this after game press conference, and he just ripped Cheffers, and he is like, he doesn't need to be in another ref's uniform ever. He said he shouldn't even work for Foot Locker. He's so bad. So there's been an ongoing feud for almost 10 years with the Chiefs, and that is the same guy who called that offensive offside.
He should be calling that game. He just like Scott Foster shouldn't be calling Chris Paul games. If it's obvious that a player and a ref have beef with each other, don't put them in the same game.
All
But
right,
I do want to say this about
5
the Chiefs.
seconds left. They're going to Dame.
You do get the favorable call with the Chiefs in the Super Bowl because I saw a stat. The Chiefs, they had the most holds last year on the offense, right? Offensive line committed the most holding calls. But
I will address that. Did they
in the last 13 quarters of the Super Bowl they've played in, 0 holding calls?
Here's the deal. I'm going to address that. Hang on. Did they call?
No, it's
is the game over?
Yeah, Dinwiddie with the block.
So it was just a block, and they recovered, and it's over.
Yeah.
Was that Dinwiddie?
You got blocked. That's not a foul. See, if they would have
I know
foul,
it was a block, but I didn't see what happened after that.
There might be 1 second left.
It went out of bounds, but I think it's over.
Why? I just don't understand why in the NBA they do this all the time. If you're on the road, you're down one, they're gonna settle for the jump shot to win the game.
Oh,
I
he
don't
kicked it though.
understand. I really don't understand. You go to Dame to win this game with a jump shot instead of going inside to Giannis and live and die with something close to the basket.
Yeah, I agree. Here's what I want to say about the holding calls quickly. Okay, first of all, in the postseason, the refs let the players play. So there weren't holding calls on either side of any game for a lot of the games because
But
the
in the
refs let
Super Bowl, there was
there
at least
was,
4
and
or
it was
5, and
blatant.
they didn't call
And
it.
it was blatant. And hang on, the refs let the players play in the postseason. Everybody knows that. So everybody bitching about the calls, the refs let the players play. Secondly, the Chiefs had the most drops by far in the NFL. We didn't have, I think we had one drop in the Super Bowl, but nobody's saying, "Oh, what happened to all the drops? You guys don't have drops now." But when it comes to the holding, "Oh, what happened to the hold?" So it's a lot easier because when I was watching all these shows, people were saying, "Can they fix this drop? Can they fix the drops?" And everybody's like, "No, they can't fix it." But we did. Nobody was saying that about the holding because it's a lot easier when you. I know you probably don't understand this, but when it comes to the championship mentality, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I had to throw that in there. But when Andy and his team know how to get ready for the postseason. That's how come it was like a switch that was flipped. It's not like it can't happen. And again, I want to reiterate, they let the players play in the postseason. So you can bring that argument as much as you want.
They
And
didn't let him play at the end of the Eagles
I'm
game.
going to throw
They
back
didn't
to
let him
you
play.
that
Yeah, it's a holding call, but I mean, if they're going to let him play, don't throw the flag in that moment at the end of the Super Bowl, and possibly the Eagles are your Super
so
Bowl
there was one
champs.
holding call and it went against no, actually there were two holding calls, but one was on the line and it went against the 49ers. Okay, so then we had a holding call in a really bad situation too. It was with our D-backs. Should they not have called that one? I mean, where does it end? They had one call for each side. What more do you want? I think that's pretty fair, considering there was a lot more going on in that game than just on the
Well,
Chiefs
you have
side.
to be really well coached and a really good football team to play 13 quarters of the biggest game, all eyes on you, and not a single holding call. Now, and
And
clearly there were holding calls, but the refs
again,
didn't throw their flags on them.
right, again, they let the players play. Okay. And yeah, you do have to be a pretty good coach. And Andy Reid is that. He's the fourth winningest coach in the NFL. So I'd say that he meets that criteria.
Hey, well, sometimes refs miss calls, though, right? Right, Alvin?
Yes, they do.
I know Alvin knows all too much about refs missing calls.
Cam, I know what you know about the same relevance. Y'all are not relevant when it comes to winning a championship, Cam.
Hey, we might get it this year, though. That's the thing. We are the favorites to go back this year, according to Vegas, and a lot of people that we're bringing back. I think we can go back and do it. This just and then like I said too, this is like Greg was saying. Sometimes you got to lose in order to win, right? Jordan
That's right.
lost, Kobe lost, Bird. Sometimes you just got to lose to win. I think that's what the Niners just got to take the hard route right now.
Well, it's a lot more of an NBA
journey
thing than an NFL thing.
And you guys are going to be back with a vengeance, right?
Let me tell you, Cam. Just like we're the playoff chokers, y'all the championship chokers.
Hey, I think Kyle Shanahan is the choker. I don't know if we can blame all the Niners.
Anyway, hey man, that was an exciting game tonight.
Yeah, we're going to wrap things up for tonight. It was a great finish. We've had a lot of great games. It seems like we're the lucky charm. Great time here with you guys tonight. Next week, our schedule, we're going to be testing starting at 8 p.m. Eastern. So we'll be on at 8 every night next week. And look forward to seeing you guys. Have a great weekend. We're going to be off for the weekend.